Okay, we need to solve for, let's say, y. So you have x and y. Our goal is to get y by itself. So let's write this down. 2x plus y minus 4 equals 0. We want to keep y on the left. Everything else has to be moved to the right, which means we want to get y by itself or solve for y. So either one of them, but let's say I want to subtract 2x on both sides. Why? Because I want to get rid of the x term on the left. I want to get y by itself. So I get y minus 4 because this becomes a 0 when I subtract. So plus and minus cancel each other out and makes it a 0. So 0 plus y is a y. Y minus 4 equals negative 2x. Now I need to get y by itself. So I need to add 4 and get rid of the 4 on the left. But I need to do the exact same thing on the right. Minus and plus cancel each other out. So I get y plus 0 is y. And I'm adding 4 on both sides, not 4x. So I have negative 2x plus 4. Remember that this, you're going to see later, is the equation of a straight line. And now what we've done is we've solved for y and put it in a specific form, which is called the y equals mx plus b form. M is the slope, b is the y-intercept, but you'll be introduced to that a little later. Now I take the same equation and I solve for x. I could solve for x if I wanted to. So solve for x. So let's write this equation down. 2x plus y minus 4 equals 0. If I want to solve for x, I want to keep x on the left. I need to get rid of the plus y and the minus 4. And now that you're used to this, I'm going to do both at the same time. I'm going to subtract a y on both sides, and I'm going to add a 4 on both sides. Why are we doing that? Because we want to get rid of both the terms so we can get x by itself. So the plus y and the minus y makes it a 0. Minus 4 plus 4 makes it a 0. So I get 2x plus 0 is 2x equals negative y plus 4. Now remember, we're getting x by itself. I divide both sides by 2. So 2x over 2 is equal to negative y plus 4 over 2. So x is equal to negative y plus 4 over 2. So we've solved for x. We can put it in a slightly different form. It depends on what we need at the end. You could also write it as negative y over 2 plus, because it's a plus and a minus here, I'm allowed to do this, 4 over 2. Each one gets a 2 in the denominator. So you get x is negative y over 2 plus 2 times 2 is 4. We have the equation x plus 3y equals 1. It's an equation of a straight line. Let's say we want to solve for y, which means we want to get y by itself on one side, which means to begin with, I need to get rid of the x on the left side. So how do I get rid of it? X is added. That's a plus. It's added to 3y, so I can subtract the x from both sides. Plus x minus x is a 0. 0 plus 3y is a 3y. And that's equal to, you can either write it as negative x plus 1, or you can also write it as 1 minus x. Both are exactly the same. Remember that if I have 1 minus x and I want to switch the spots, then remember that the negative goes with the x. And what I do is I add the 1. This is an important thing to remember, especially for the next few chapters that you're going to be introduced. So 3y Now I need to get y by itself. 3 is multiplied to y, so the only way to get rid of the 3 is to divide by 3 on both sides. Negative x plus 1 divided by 3. We cancel the 3's and y is equal to negative x over 3. And I can write it as plus 1 over 3. If I see a plus and a minus, this is exactly what I can do. Each one gets a 3 in the denominator. So y equals, another way of looking at this is negative 1/3 x. Remember, that's 1 times x, so negative 1/3 is the fraction multiplied to x plus 1/3. Again, let's say we want to solve for y. Now, if you have a fraction on the left and a fraction on the right, you could cross multiply. We had a negative 6, and I wrote it as negative 6 over 1 just for clarity, and then you cross multiply. So you have y plus 1 times 1 is equal to negative 6 times x plus 0 is really just x. So now y plus 1 times 1 is y plus 1 equals negative 6x. So the first step is to cross multiply, so there are no fractions. Now we need to solve for y. Each side is simplified completely. The only thing we need to do is get rid of the 1, which is added to y by subtracting the 1. And what you do on the left, you have to do on the right. So you subtract 1 on the right. So y plus 0 is y, negative 6x minus 1. Now let's write down the next equation. Let's say we have y plus 1 over x minus 2 equals negative 2. It's very similar, just more examples of the same type. So if you see something like this, like a fraction on the left, write it as negative 2 over 1 and cross multiply. Let's say the question is the same thing, solve for y. So you have y plus 1 times 1 is equal to negative 2 times x minus 2. So this is y plus 1 equals negative 2 times x, negative 2 times negative 2. Be careful with the signs. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Next, we have to solve for y. So that is get y by itself, which means I need to get rid of the plus 1. The only way to do that is by subtracting 1. Plus 1 minus 1 is a 0. Y plus 0 is a y, equals negative 2x plus 4 minus 1, which is equal to 3. So we've solved for y. So that's the, as soon as you get y by itself, you're done. Let's do one more. Let's suppose we have y minus 3 over x plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, remember 0 is not 0 over 0, it's 0 over 1 or anything but 0. Just 1 is the easiest. So don't forget this, 0 is not 0 over 0, so we cross multiply. So y minus 3 times 1 is equal to 0 times, it doesn't matter what it is, 0 times anything is 0, remember that. So y minus 3 equals 0, and I add 3 on both sides and get y equals 3. And we've solved for y. Just remember that if it's 0, write it as 0 over 1. One last example. Let's say we have 2a minus 3b plus c equals 0. And let's say we want to solve for b. We could solve for any one of these, but let's say we want to solve for b, which means we want to keep the b or any term containing b on the left. It depends what you want. It could be on the left or right, but let's say I want to keep it on the left, which means I need to get rid of all the other terms and move it to the right. So if I want to get rid of the plus 2a, I need to subtract 2a. I want to get rid of the plus c, I need to subtract c. But I have to do this on both sides. I subtract 2a on both sides, I subtract c on both sides. So plus 2a minus 2a is 0, plus c minus c is 0. I have negative 3b is equal to negative 2a minus c. Now remember, I'm trying to solve for b. So negative 3 is multiplied to b, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. So negative 2 over negative 3a minus c over negative 3. Each one gets a negative 3. Don't forget that. Each one of the terms on the right should be divided by negative 3. So that becomes a 1. Negative 3 over negative 3 is a 1. 1 times b is a b. Negative and negative cancel each other out, and you get a 2/3 a. Negative and negative cancel each other out. I get, instead of a negative, I have a positive c over 3, and I've solved for b. Now, what if I want to use the same equation, 2a minus 3b plus c equals 0, and I want to solve for a? Then I keep a on one side, add 3b, subtract c, but do the exact same thing on the right side. Remember, this is a 0, plus 3b minus c. That becomes a 0, that becomes a 0. 2a plus 0 is 2a, and that's equal to 3b minus c. How do I get rid of the 2? Because I want to get a by itself. I divide by 2, and that's equal to 3b minus c over 2. So a is equal to 3b minus c over 2. So just pick any one letter and you can solve for it. The same rules apply, the rules that you learned in solving linear equations. But just make sure you're careful with the negatives and focus on the letter that you're solving for, and get that letter by itself on one side.